Hello, and welcome to Broads and Books. I'm Amy.
And I'm Erin, and this is episode number 74. I put a spell on you.
I put a damn spell on you.
I put a spell on you.
So this is a song that's been covered by a lot of people.
So many people.
I particularly thought of the Nina Simone version because she's got just a very deep voice, a very sort of husky voice, and these words coming out of her mouth. Fantastic.
It is one of the best versions, I have to say.
Yeah. I like that I chose this because, it's the time of year. Witchery. Spells.
When we're coming right up on Halloween.
Right up.
Days.
I also like that in the song there's kind of a bit of revenge too, or like a kind of implied violence because the guy is running around on his girl and she's had enough, so she puts a spell on him because he's hers.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So we kind of took just a broad approach, kind of
we did.
Witchy characters, women, whether they are or aren't.
The craft of witchness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or maybe perceived witchery.
Well, that's just womanhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So really just books about women this week. No.
I'm a damn witch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Have you've been called a witch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Which I like.
I don't know why you wouldn't.
Yeah. There's a meme that I've seen that it's like, if you're not being accused of a witch, like, what are you even doing with your life?
Are you even trying?
Yeah.
What are you up to?
Because come on.
Yeah.
That's all the best people that were burned were the, people accused of being witches.
Yes.
Just ladies.
Yes.
Trying to live their damn lives.
You're exactly right.
But, thinking about Halloween.
Yes.
And, as weird as it might be this year.
Yeah, it is.
Practice
Definitely.
of Halloween. In other times, what was your favorite Halloween costume growing up?
This is super nerdy.
Oh,
but
let's hear it.
Yeah. So one year I went as a mad scientist.
Oh.
And what I was the most excited about is that my parents had a friend who worked had a side photography business. Mm-hmm. And for some reason he had been gifted by a developer a white lab coat, and he said I could have it.
Oh, shit. How old are you at this point?
Oh, God. I had to be 10.
Perfect.
11.
Perfect time.
And I got some weird glasses, and that's really the whole costume. And there was really not much to the costume, but I remember that having that white lab coat, for some reason, that was like everything to me. I was like, I am a scientist. Like, I have a legit white lab coat. So mess with me, if you will. I'm not even sure that I cared that much about going trick or treating. I more just cared about the symbolism of leaving my house in a white lab coat.
Yeah.
Like, this is it. Yeah. This is it.
Wow.
We're on the precipice of something big because I got a white lab coat.
Was your hair wild and crazy like a mad scientist?
I don't remember. I feel like I wore a wig maybe. That was
okay.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And had some crazy glasses, and that was the full extent, but I liked it.
That's a mad scientist.
I was also a fan of coming up with costumes that I could wear warm clothes underneath.
Oh, for sure.
Because I get
cold.
Yeah.
It's nipply out in October.
It is.
I remember some Halloweens growing up where it was snow. Do you remember
Yes.
that? Yeah.
There was a Halloween I specifically remember where we had a crazy ice storm and our power was out for a couple days. Halloween.
That's right. Late October. Too early.
That is some Iowa bullshit for you right there.
I was Madonna in her boy toy era.
No, you were not.
Yes, I was. And way too young to be, taking on that persona, because I imagine I was 8 or 9 or something.
Yeah.
But I remember, and I don't know if my mom sewed this for me. I have to imagine she did, because I don't know where we would have got these lace fingerless gloves. And I had I done up my hair a little bit. I had a headband on. I had some, man, I'm just remembering a picture of myself. And I'm that is impressive. Where did I get all those things? And also, do I even know what a virgin is at this point? Because I don't think I do. When that album came out, I loved it. I didn't know what virgin
Didn't know what it was.
No.
Yeah. Well, that's all right.
It's all right. I loved her. I loved Madonna.
I love that you were Madonna. That is kind of making my day right now. I'm not going to lie. I would pay money for that picture. Well, another tradition that happens a lot around Halloween and is live and well in Iowa, regardless of pandemics, for some reason.
Sure. Yep.
Have you ever been to a haunted house?
I have a vague memory that I'm not sure is true or not. I don't know. I don't know if this was a nightmare or a real story.
Okay, I'm already in.
But I think I remember going to a haunted house like with a boy, and immediately the lights are out and it's sort of claustrophobic, and I think I'm hanging on to this person. And I think I liked the fact that I was hanging on to the person, but everything else I was like, how did I end up in this situation? Because really, I have no business being in a haunted house. I am terrified of the dark. I don't like things that make me jump. At this point in my life, I'm going to pee if I get scared.
So much pee.
Yeah. So beyond that memory, which may or may not be false,
I'm going to say it's true.
I'm assuming I was in high school or something and went with either a boy I had a crush on or a boy that was a friend or something. And they said, yep, haunted house. And I was like, okay. But I do remember the claustrophobic feeling of it. Like you were going through like a tunnel or something. And no, never again. Never again. And now, like you said, you see the signs every Halloween for like this really intense like murder house
slaughterhouse.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
What?
And I'm like, who is doing this?
Who is doing that?
What do you think the appeal of a haunted house is? Would you ever go? Have you ever gone?
I think that I've been when I was younger, and I took part in a haunted house one time. Like I worked in it, and that was amazing. I would do that again, hands down.
That'd be pretty great to scare other people.
I got to dress up as a bloody bride and then come in the room after people came in there. So I was like, it was like a set, but it's dark, so they walked through a door into this creepy bathroom. And when everyone was in there in that group, I came in behind and then just screamed out of nowhere.
Oh my God.
And watching people scream while you're screaming is tremendously fun.
Did you feel just release after your shift?
So great. It was so much fun. Yeah.
How much did you get paid for being a bloody
bride? I was
bride?
a volunteer thing.
Oh my God.
It was like a charity haunted house thing. So it was, like I had volunteered for it, and it was everything that I wanted it to be and more. I would do that again, hands down.
Okay, sure.
The only other experience I have is that I was convinced to go on a haunted hay rack ride.
Oh no.
And it was 10 times worse because all I could think the whole time was if I fall off, I'm stuck in this.
Stuck in the
like
haunted
a haunted house. At some point, you're going to get out.
Yeah.
But if they leave me in the forest on this haunted hayrack ride, and I don't remember anything else. I don't remember if it was scary. I don't even remember what happened.
You've blocked it out.
It was in college. And I specifically remember just being like, do not fall off. Do not fall off the whole time. And I don't know why. I don't know. I don't really remember sitting next to a side or anything. But no, I would never go. I don't. I feel like you're born with so many ticks on your heart. And I don't need to take some off.
You don't need to subtract some ticks from the heart.
No, just for that.
No.
I don't need it.
No, I don't need it either.
No.
I think, maybe some of the appeal is people who really like horror movies and stuff like that. And I've never been a big fan of those either. So I think that's, especially like slasher movies. Yeah, I got nothing. So...
I do like the idea, though, that you and I come together.
Yes.
And we make a haunted house.
Oh, yeah.
To summarize 2020.
Oh,
what do we include in our haunted house?
I mean, we just have TVs with all the cable news on first, right?
Right.
I mean, that'd be like your entrance.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Uh-huh.
For me, I picture like to the point that it's incredibly annoying and scary at the same time, every 30 seconds, a Jack in the Box thing. Like you hear it, you just don't know what's going to pop out because that's 2020.
That is 2020.
Boom! Pandemic.
Yeah.
Trump said something stupid.
RBG died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think also that once you enter the haunted house for 2020, you have to get like wet somehow. Like you're just doused in some sort of liquid.
Tears.
And then you have to... You have to just go through the rest of the house just damp and moist and gross while you're seeing the Jack in the Box. I think also there would have to be just a running stream of data showing how terrible the year is, data of COVID deaths, data of, just everything.
I think in order to leave, you have to cry. I don't think you get to leave until you cry.
Do you get points if you like crawl up in the fetal position at some point?
Yeah, that's fine. And as soon as you cry, you can leave. Like if there's a trap door, you can leave at that moment. So if it takes just the first thing, that's great. But if you just keep going, I mean, we'll keep coming at you.
Yeah, we'll keep
you
coming.
will cry.
Yeah.
You will get to the point that you have haunted house fatigue.
Yeah.
Also known as pandemic fatigue. And you will just be like, I can't do it anymore.
I wonder if you win the haunted house if you go through a mental breakdown.
Why not?
Yeah.
We could give prizes
For sure.
in our haunted house.
Yeah.
I don't know what the prize is. A hazmat
Getting
suit?
to leave the house?
Yeah, I
Getting to
guess.
move into 2022?
Right.
Yeah.
Lysol, because you can't come by that. So here's a can of Lysol.
Yeah, here's some cleaning wipes. Here you go. You can't find those anywhere.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, there's more things. What's crazy to me is it's just the year just keeps coming and coming, and so I can't even remember what it was like at the beginning of the year.
I know.
And that's part of it. It's like it has
Well,
to
let me
simulate.
remind you of a few things.
Oh, great. Okay.
Okay. We had at the beginning of the year, there's just signs that things were going to go weird.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a huge football fan, but the fact that Tom Brady left the Patriots to go to a team I've never heard of was a sign that something was off. That seems odd behavior.
Are you blaming it on Tom Brady? Is it all
Yeah,
Tom
why
Brady's
not?
fault?
He's got big shoulders. You can take it.
He's married to Giselle.
You got enough money. Let's just blame it on you. Then we were all obsessed with the guy who literally killed tigers.
Oh my God, that's right.
We were
Oh, that feels so long ago.
petrified about murder hornets. Murder
We
hornets should be part of the
were.
haunted house.
Oh, there's lots of murder hornets. That's right. And there's some, like, at some point, the Tiger King shows up. Like, he's just there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Carol Baskin's over in the corner, too.
There should be like a choose your own adventure element in our haunted house. Like you can follow Carol Baskin to the meat grinder,
Yep.
or you can follow the Tiger King to the field. Both are going to end in a certain way. Better off if you're an animal in one and a human in the other. Pick.
At some point, we have to have Dr. Fauci, too. He has to just come in and give the facts and then have, like, you know, a ghost or something come and kill him.
Yeah.
Because that's basically
I think
what's
that
been
could
happening.
be a Jack in the Box thing. Like
Yes.
he's talking and then it just bloop, goes away. Because why would we listen to him anymore?
And over it, there's just constant Trump's voice.
Yes.
It's just, you know,
Yes.
the background noise.
But it should be saying something like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Oh, my
like
God.
everything
Oh, God.
that you're going through that's horrible. He's just
Yeah.
in the background saying, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah. This is really bad.
I mean, I think it'd be very successful.
It.
We're probably going to get some protests, but, you know.
Oh, yeah, because we're going to make people wear masks, and that's going to cause some tantrums.
House is great again. Mega.
What is
Make
this?
haunted houses great again.
So big. Oh, it's the sound of the zombie.
Mega. Make haunted houses great again. Sounds like, yeah, like the mummy.
Oh, God.
Mega.
Sounds terrible. I mean, I'm glad we're leading it. I don't want any part of it.
Yeah, and I think that should be part of it, is that we should get to sit in a booth and just watch things happen.
Oh, God.
And we could have controls at our disposal that we could change things like, haha, guess what?
Yeah.
Now we're going to rain locusts on you.
And you're already damp and moist, so they're going to really go for you.
And I think it should go towards the end. It should be less scary because that's what it feels like. It feels like you've run out of energy in 2020
Yes.
and tiny things are bothering you.
Yep.
So like at the beginning, it's horrific, horrible things. And then by the end, you're in a fake Target and they just don't have toilet paper. And you're like, I can't anymore.
And that's when you have your breakdown.
Yes.
Because it's finally too much.
And or we could put you like in a fake grocery store scenario and someone could just be right up on you in the line without a mask trying to check out. And you
Exactly.
could just be like, I can't.
Yeah. Yeah, there's got to be a lot of people without masks in there.
And are just crying because they're out of grapes. Just like, I can't do this anymore.
A lot of coughing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coughing. Just coughing. And there could be like a little release of moist air by your face when you're walking through. So you're
Here's
like,
some droplets.
Yeah. Because coughing and sneezing will never be the same.
Oh, God, no. No.
I mean, when somebody does that now, it feels
Yes.
very loaded.
It really does. Like, we've even had an author interview that will be coming out soon where she coughed at first, or I coughed or something, and we were
Yeah.
quick to be like, "There's not COVID.
Yeah.
Just allergies.
Everything's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. Not that you even catch it over Zoom, but you still don't want to be
Still, it
patient
was
zero.
Exactly.
Maybe that's it. You can get out of the haunted house if you solve the riddle of who is patient zero.
Ooh, who do you think is patient zero? Is it Tom Brady?
Yeah, we already said it was Tom
Okay,
Brady.
all right. Just making sure.
Great. Now I have to add Tom Brady to my
Yep.
cease and desist list.
You heard it here first, kids.
I
Tom
think
Brady,
Tom
patient
Brady's
zero.
fault.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy. Okay, so should we talk about, now that we've talked about the horror that is 2020
know.
and what a, simulated 2020 would appear like, let's talk about spells because,
Okay.
Yeah. Witchcraft is sounding real good right about
It
now.
is.
I wish I had the ability to just cast a spell and poof, 2020's done.
Gone.
Yeah.
I can't promise that I'm not going to throw out some more haunted house stuff as we go, but
I think that's a great idea because I feel like there's so many ideas percolating that will only come out as we keep talking.
yes.
So let's just keep going.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay.
What's your first pick this
My
week?
first pick is called Follow Me to Ground by Sue Rainsford. This was from 2018, but then it was republished this year.
Oh.
So in this book, Ada and her father live on the edge of a kind of small town, a village. And there is something different about them, and the locals in the town or village avoid them. But when the locals get sick, they go to Ada and her father because those two have an ability to crack open their bodies and fix them of whatever ails them. And yes, it's literal putting their hands into the bodies and pulling out whatever sickness is there and transforming it or transferring it somewhere else. Like you'll find it in the cabinets later, this like lung cancer, or you'll find like a mouth sore, in a mason jar on the sill. And then once you've cracked these locals open and taken out the sickness, you bury them in the ground outside the house to complete the healing process.
And then they just rise again.
Then they just rise again.
Wow.
Yeah. So Ada and her dad, they've been doing this forever. There's something not quite human about them. They live really long lives. And so because of that, they just see the sickness, they really could care less about the locals. But then Ada meets a man named Samson. She falls for this guy. And Dad is pissed, and so is Samson's sister for potentially mysterious reasons. And they say that Samson has some mental health issues and other stuff. And Dad is like, don't mess with the locals. What are you doing? This is dumb,
right,
kind of thing. But she is obsessed with Samson. Not quite sure if he's as obsessed as her, but we get a real obsessive vibe from her.
Ooh, okay.
And because she's not quite human, she's never really felt these emotions before, right? So, the idea of like lust, of love is overpowering to her. And so she decides to do what she does best, use her sort of otherworldly powers to make him hers. So this is a small book. It's a potentially quick read. There's a little bit of fairy tale. There's a little bit of folk tale, a little bit of horror, a little bit of nightmares.
Yeah.
But I chose it for this theme because she's a straight up witch doctor. She's super witchy. But, they've always used their powers to help others, even if they don't really care about the others. But when she starts feeling this stuff, she wants control. So she uses the powers that she has. It, as you can imagine, it doesn't go great. So, but man, it's a hell of a ride. I really like that it gets at sort of the jealous nature of lust and love and what weird human emotions we have and how you can veer very quickly into the dangerous side of lust and love. Mm-hmm. And that desire to make that person mine no matter what, no matter if they're into it, no matter if, they're a great person, no matter into it. So she puts a spell. She's casting spells. Yeah.
That sounds kind of great.
It really is. And it's written really well. It's, it pulls you into this super weird world. Mm-hmm. And it's also, we've talked so many times about potentially unlikable characters. And as you could tell probably from the description, I mean, she's not a great person. She's not even really a person.
Yeah.
But it's really fascinating to get into her mind, to get into, this ability that she has and what that means for a potential suitor.
Oh, that could be another part of the haunted house.
Ooh, what?
First dates.
Oh, God. Yes. You have to go on a blind first date.
Mm-hmm. Another part could be you're just in a room with all of the behaviors that annoyed you during quarantine about your partner.
Oh, my God.
And they're just all in there. Or your kids or whatever, whoever you were quarantining, your pets, whatever the
is
situation
part of the
was.
haunted house that you just have to spend extended time with the people you've been quarantining with?
No, I think you just have to really confront those certain behaviors.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're just front and center and nothing
Yeah.
else.
Because I don't think our ultimate goal is to keep those people for a long time. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want
That's a
them
good
hanging
point.
out.
No, we don't want them hanging out. Yeah.
We want to bring them to their knees and send them on their way.
So all the weird tics, all the weird sounds of their bodies.
Yeah.
It's just right there on display.
Right there.
Ugh.
I hadn't, until you had brought up this obsessive love, I hadn't thought about how many great things you could do with relationships in a haunted house.
But yeah, just having like a blind first date with like a mask or, some sort of protective shield.
Yes.
but still, like 5 minutes into the date, maybe just a minute into the date, there's no way you want to continue, but you can't get out of it. You're forced to stay there.
Yeah. And since, we have no bounds, clearly, I think that we could tailor it to each person. Like we would know their dating history, and the worst things that have ever happened on dates start happening, and they're like, I don't know what's happening.
Oh yeah, it's like a rewind of all the terrible things. Oh no. Really Again, we can't go through this haunted house. We just have to control it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not interested in being in it. No. Well, the book I picked for the fiction pick this week is called Small Disasters by Sarah Vaughan. And I recommended her book, Anatomy of a Scandal, some time ago. This was just published in April 2020, hot off the presses. That was in the UK, and it just came out in August in the US. So this book mainly features Liz and Jess, and they're these two moms that met in a birthing class prior to having their first child. And they're both really successful in different ways. Jess has gone on to have 2 more kids. The youngest is not even a year old. Her husband is a very successful, very busy, very preoccupied lawyer. And she's kind of this perfect wife, right? She's attractive and she says the right things and she's built this beautiful life. And her husband's like so charming and everybody loves them and everything's great. Liz is an ER pediatric doctor, and she's got a second child as well, so she has 2 kids. She's super busy and really doesn't have as much time to connect with her friends as she used to. But they were very close. Her and Liz have remained close. Their families have stayed close. And there was also 2 other couples in the birthing class. So they're all kind of a unit that tries to get together semi-regularly and hang out. So everything flips on its head when Jess's younger daughter is brought into ER during Liz's shift. And right away, she notices that something's off about her friend. Her friend's acting strange. She's super defensive. She's really tense. And at first, Liz just wants to kind of chalk it up to like, oh, her baby's sick. She's just worried. Or maybe a little standoffish because I haven't been being a great friend. Something like that. So after she's there for a little bit, they discover that the baby has a head injury at the base of her skull, which can basically only mean that someone did this to the baby or was very neglectful in handling of the baby. And so because of that, Liz is thrust into this terrible position where she's already had to recuse herself off the case, but now they have to report her.
Yeah, mandatory report, right?
Yeah. So what we would know as like DHS is getting involved. There's police officers involved, and this whole thing erupts. And the whole friend group is appalled that Liz would believe that Jess could do something like this. And Jess is hurt and upset. And okay. So as the story unfolds, we're getting chapter by chapter of Liz and Jess. And we're seeing inside Jess's thought process, and things are not quite right. Like you're getting the sense that something's off, but you don't know what it means. Does it mean she hurt her baby, or does it mean she just wasn't aware of what was? Yeah. There's a lot of questions, and throughout it, you're doubting her, you're doubting her husband, you're doubting so many things. So as the investigation continues, and I won't give away all the great twists and turns, what I love about this book is that essentially it's kind of a thriller, kind of a psychological thriller, but it has so much to say about the burden that women carry when they're trying to have a career in children, or when they're forced to be the front line of childcare, or when they're trying to stay true to each other in a friendship in a world that doesn't want females to be friends, that wants to tear us apart as much as possible. So to me, it's the best kind of thriller because it has all these emotional tie-ins. And I picked it for this theme. To be clear, no one in the book is an out-and-out witch or claiming it. But what I like about it is that the female characters in this book are almost personified to take on that quality, kind of like we joked about at the beginning, like women are called witchy for a lot of different reasons. And one of them I really think kind of falls in with Jess in this story, in that she's beautiful and people feel entranced by her. So how could anything be wrong with her? How could something be off? And because of that, Liz doubts herself, like, well, she's not as good as her, or she's not. And it almost kind of puts a spell on the whole situation. Instead of seeing truth for what it is, you're sort of misled and misdirected by a lot of things. And I also... There's another character that emerges in the book that is just right out witchy. And you'll see that when you encounter this person. And I like that because it's sort of paying homage to the fact that there are people like that. And there is a reason that gets brought up sometimes. And how that plays out in this book is amazing because it has this very sinister, sneaky quality to it. And you can see where she's coming from, and you can tell that maybe this person has some self-esteem issues, but still there's a real witchy vibe from her.
Oh, this sounds great.
Yes, it is wonderful. It has all of the same kind of thriller, great aspects as Anatomy of a Scandal. It's characters that you feel connected to, but you're also very interested to know what's going on. The kind of mind tricks of doubting yourself, like, oh, I believe this person, but I don't believe this person. So for all of that, it's terrific.
So this is your second book from Sarah Vaughan. Is she another one now that you are just like anything she writes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent.
Yeah, for sure. Because this was phenomenal. So,
wow.
Yeah, I was very excited.
You know, I thought of another element for a haunted house.
Ooh, good.
Yeah. When you were talking about like sort of moms and the moms group, I'm thinking that some part of the you have to see the Instagram accounts of really self-righteous moms who are talking about the lessons that they're giving their kids at home.
Oh, that would be a particularly bad area for me.
Yes. That's what I'm thinking. But because I imagine there's many women like you, though, that are traumatized by this.
Yeah.
Looking at these Instagram and Facebook accounts of, look at the wonderful meal I made for my children today during quarantine. Look at all the enrichment activities I've been giving them. And
look at my kid eating a wide range of vegetables.
And you're like, just go eat some damn goldfish. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care. Cheetos for breakfast? I don't care. It's 2020. I don't care.
The rules are gone.
And no rules.
Yeah,
no
so
rules.
in this house, you can't escape these Instagram accounts.
And that's what I also, about this book that was great, is that there's so many female characters in there, and they all represent something different that women kind of holes they're put into based on certain things. And I love that you can relate to all of them at different times. You know, Liz is trying to have this career, and she's really good at it, but it comes at a cost of feeling like she's not always there for her kids. On the other hand, Jess has built this beautiful life, but something seems off. Like, is this all that I have? Is this all that I've done? I mean, there's so many things at play there that I think no matter what your personal situation is, you can relate to.
Another element, just being called crazy again and again.
Yes.
Women just being called crazy. You're just in a room and you can't escape men calling you crazy.
Yes.
Because, God damn it, all the things that women have to do, you have to be a little witchy to survive that.
You do. You do. And I think we should, playing on the Jack in the Box idea.
Yes.
The Jack in the Box keeps popping up and going, you're crazy. You're crazy. And you will get an automatic pass out if you ninja kick and or punch the Jack in the Box.
Oh my God, that would be so
resist
gratifying.
the urge to stay ladylike and you just rip that clown to shreds, you automatically get the bottle of Lysol and you automatically get out.
Man, I like that element that if somehow you just say F you 2020, you can get out and get all the stuff.
Yeah.
You're crazy. You're
Jack
crazy.
in the Boxes have scared me for years.
They have. I
What is
remember
that?
being a kid and be like doing the thing and then like I want this but I don't want this and oh God, here it comes.
And you can hear the little click, but it's still one more. It is always one more turn, and then and you're like, oh my God, why?
That is the perfect metaphor for 2020.
Whoever
well
came
done.
up with that?
I don't know. Some sadist.
And why are they giving it to kids?
To prepare you for years like this.
I guess, right?
I guess we didn't do enough Jack in the Box playing back then.
I guess not.
We weren't prepared.
Also, it raises another question. Why did Jack in the Box restaurant think that was a good idea?
Yeah.
Like, what's popping out of your burger in your face? Like, that's what I'm thinking now. Is what
popping out salmonella. There you go.
Listeria outbreak. Boom. Like, what? Why did you pick that name?
It's a bonus E. coli. There you go.
Who wants to be associated with a clown?
No one. No one.
No one.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say a clown, but a clown is an element of any haunted house, not just 2020.
Did I ever tell you that when I was driving, like when I very first moved here, I saw a clown driving a car and I didn't recover for a solid like day and a half.
Clowns shouldn't drive cars.
It was like, I'm sure he was going to a birthday party or something, but I'm like, why are you fully dressed in clown makeup driving a normal car? Like, I can't just pass a clown in a Kia and feel normal for the rest of my day.
No, you can't. That's terrifying.
Also, because you don't expect it.
No.
And you're like, wait, is that... like, that has to be a symbol, right? I don't... How do I didn't recover for a long time. No. And now, always in my life, there's a possibility that a clown is driving a car. That exists now.
Yeah, that's a bad possibility. Mm-hmm. I wonder if someone thought that when we had Heavesgate, when we were driving in the... And as a brief reminder, this is when Erin and I drove to Iowa City. She got a real tummy problem and started puking at the event. And then we still had to drive the hour and a half home. So Erin just kept puking into trash bags, rolling them up, and then putting them into another trash bag.
It was a real process.
But by the time we got into Des Moines and I was driving her home, because I was driving during this, we pulled up to a stoplight and you had the heave again. And I just wondered, are the people looking over and they're having a clown moment? Like, there shouldn't be a person heaving in the front seat into a trash bag.
And the driver's acting like it's normal. That should be, if you were making a haunted house for you.
Oh, because just constant puking?
What do you do in that scenario? I mean, I will give you credit. You handled it like a champ. You were like, simultaneously, should I turn the radio up? Should I rub her back? Like, I don't know. And I wanted to be like, just save yourself. You don't even have to. This has gone so far, so fast.
Oh, that's when we thought it was the worst it could ever be. And then things got weird.
So much worse.
So much worse.
I was like, I don't even know how to tell. When I got home, I didn't even know how to explain to Mike what had just happened.
And why you had so many trash bags.
Yes. Well, yeah. And I had to put them in the, oh my God. I was like, please don't move the black trash bags that are in the garbage can. Just FYI.
My main memory of that drive home is just looking over every once in a while and your body is just convulsing, just keeps convulsing. I'm like, there's nothing left in that body. Why is it puking still? I don't get it.
And every once in a while you just be like, oh, I'm sorry. Because I would just be like spontaneously moving.
Well, because every once in a while you'd have a convulsion that sounded real bad.
It was
because
so
you're
bad.
just like, blah.
It hurts so bad. That was horrific.
It was bad. And it sounded like
so
your body
bad.
was breaking apart to let the heaves out. And it was not good.
And the whole time that we were at the place and that I started puking at, and I'm just in this public restroom flushing the toilet constantly.
Yes. And as a reminder, this is an event with Roxanne Gay.
Yeah, who I was
And
so
Amber
excited to listen to. I heard nothing.
And you were in the bathroom the whole time.
The whole time.
Flushing the toilet for the whole place to hear.
The whole time
The
I was
whole
flushing
time.
the toilet.
Yep.
In fact, I would imagine that they backstage are like, what was with the toilet thing?
Yeah.
Did something
Like, well,
malfunction? Also, in that bathroom, they were piping in heat right
Oh,
above
God.
the stalls.
Oh,
So it was like,
God.
that's the last thing you
That
want.
is the last thing.
It was just heat, and I was spitting it out and sweating, and like, that was, yeah.
That was a dark time.
Dark day.
Yeah. But it only lasted a few hours. This year has just lasted days
So
and
many
days
days.
and days.
You know what summarizes 2020 in that story?
What?
Is the guy at Come and Go.
So Erin, at the time, we decide like halfway through the event that Erin's got to go home because there's just and at some point we realize home is an hour and a half away, but we got to power through this. So we decide to go to Come and Go to get some sort of apparatus for when you were puking in the car because you knew it was going to happen.
I knew it. Yep.
So we go in, you pick up a whole thing of trash bags and a box of saltines maybe.
I think, and maybe a Gatorade.
And maybe
or
a Gatorade.
Water or something.
And you bring it to the cash register and he's like, oh, somebody's partying. And you're like, no, look at this face. Look at this gray face.
And I looked. Did I not
this
look?
deathly face.
Yeah,
I
I
the
looked
face, the color of a
very
corpse.
Yes.
I am not partying.
And he was like, somebody's on a wild night. And I couldn't even.
I'm like, just take my money.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't. What?
So you're right. That guy is 2020. Be like, nope, you're not feeling sick. You're a party.
Yeah. It's like the dichotomy of how people feel about 2020. Either nothing's happening or everything's happening. Nothing's happening. You're going out partying. Also, sir, who do you know that parties with a Gatorade, saltines, and a trash bag? If by party you mean I'm about to dump a body, then maybe. But party I am not. I'm going to throw up in this trash bag, roll it in another trash bag, and then do it all over again. So thanks
While
for
we're
that.
driving.
While driving on the interstate.
And also the fact that he just wasn't getting the fact that you're like, I got to make this happen quick because you're feeling the urge already at the cash
Like I'm going to throw up
register.
on the cash
Exactly.
register. Yeah. In
So
fact, I think I
hurry
went to the
this
bathroom
up.
and threw up before
I
we
think
left
you
Come and
did.
Go.
Yeah.
And I just want to point out that you got to witness firsthand the weirdness I attract, even in situations
do.
where my face should repel anyone from getting within 5 feet of me. I mean, it should have looked like, should you even be in here?
Right.
Like, this feels very
Like you've
contagious.
got a deathly disease.
I mean, I resisted the urge to say Lysol this when I leave because things are not good.
And this was what, 2017, 2018,
Yeah.
something long before COVID, but it's like you had COVID in there. It was percolating. It was
not
breaking you
pretty.
apart.
It was not a pretty sight.
How did we get on Heapsgate? I forget.
Some
Just
part of haunted
2020?
house. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, my other genre pick, much happier.
Good
topic.
Yeah. Not gonna make me puke.
Not gonna make you puke. It's called Lady Romeo: The Radical and Revolutionary Life of Charlotte Cushman, America's First Celebrity. This is by Tana Woshik from 2020, so hot off the presses too. I just finished this week actually.
Oh.
So Charlotte Cushman was born in 1816 and came of age in a time when women in theater were considered prostitutes. Literally, women were owned by husbands at this point. We were considered property.
Right.
Women were not allowed to see theater, let alone be in it.
Sure.
So this was also a time when, the country is still relatively new, and many are feeling like there's no American culture. We don't have anything we call our own. We're just exporting or importing British stuff. We're just doing a lot of things that, we have nothing to really show for it.
Right.
But Charlotte, from an early age, she loved theater. She had an uncle that kind of took a liking to her, showed her some of these things that she wouldn't have had exposure to otherwise. And pretty early on, their deadbeat dad left, and she needed a way to make money for the family. So she became an actress. And over a few decades, she became this enormous star, playing characters like Lady Macbeth, playing in New York, London, New Orleans, across the country.
Wow.
And she also flipped the gender script. She would often play male characters like Romeo in Juliet.
Oh.
And she's playing opposite other women. So very interesting thing. She became the first real cultural icon of America. And get this, she did it in a time, there's no news wires at this point.
Right.
There's no TV, recycling celebrities. This is an entirely new concept. And somehow everyone around the country is made to know of this woman, and they get to see her at some point. Plus, the amazing thing about this, she had marriages, and I'm putting that in quotes because, of course, this wasn't legal, with women, multiple women, affairs with lots more women. And she routinely, in life, outside of the theater, would dress as a man or dress as a woman. Like, it was just, whatever she felt like that day. She broke all the rules. So I chose it for this theme because routinely throughout the book, we hear that the audience who saw her, including some of their future cultural icons like Louisa May Alcott, Charles Dickens, Nathaniel Hawthorne, just were captivated by her. They say things like, she put a spell on us. She put a spell on the audience.
Oh.
So I think it's something almost magical too about the fact that a queer woman is becoming the first celebrity in a time that gave women no power, first of all. And I like the idea that she sort of, at a couple points in her life, she established almost an artist colony of all women in Rome, and then later in the U.S. in upstate New York. It's almost like a little covens, if you think about it in the term of, witchcraft. So this is a very quick book. It's a short read, but in it, you get a feel for her life, for what stardom meant, as well as you get a look of what New York was like in the 1840s and 50s, which if you've seen the movie Gangs of New York, you get a feel for that. Very dirty, very rough, lots of gangs. It's really, really cool. We also get lots of mentions of history come to life. Like she is, active in theater pre-Civil War, during the Civil War, after Civil War. There's even a part where Lincoln goes to see her before he writes the Gettysburg Address. I will say that this was so quick that I actually kind of wanted more. So I may be looking into more. But I read this week as I was kind of thinking about this book, is that the author sort of deliberately wrote this for young women and maybe kept it short in that way because she said in an interview, as a young adolescent, especially one interested in history, I needed to know about more women like Cushman. I didn't have many role models. I didn't have any roadmaps. And so she wanted to bring this woman to life.
Wow.
So really, really
I've never
cool.
even heard of her.
Never heard of her before. Okay. I just liked the idea. I saw this somewhere that said Lady Romeo. I'm like, I'm in. Don't know what it is. Bring it.
That's the power of a great title right there.
It is the power of a great title. Yeah.
Well, for my second pick this week, it is kind of a short story novella, depending on how you want to look at it. It's by Gillian Flynn, who is Gone Girl, Sharp Objects, of that fare. This was published in 2015. And like I said, short story novella, it's like 67 pages. So depending on where you draw the line on those genres. The main character in this is a young woman. She's grown up begging and conning. She learned it from her mom. That's the way she makes money. So she says that she feels like she's stuck in between two worlds. Like she's smart, she reads. So she feels like with the people she's surrounded with in her life, kind of as a con artist, she's extra smart. But if she was around people that were actually educated, she would bore them. Oh. So she kind of feels caught in between these two worlds. And she ends up in a shop reading people's auras and really just kind of, faking it. So she ends up meeting this woman named Susan Burke and sees an opportunity for a whole new venture, which is cleaning houses of auras and bad vibes. She thinks this woman's rich. She's going to pay me. She thinks her house is haunted and is causing her stepson to act up. She's going to pay me to get rid of these spirits and all of this, and then I'm going to meet all of her rich friends, and this is going to be a great new business opportunity.
Oh my God, that's pretty brilliant.
Right.
Yeah.
So she goes to the house, and when she first pulls up, she realizes that she may have miscalculated a little bit because it's a really old, creepy manor that is very scary and very different than anything else on the block. Ooh. It sticks out. It's strange. Inside is even weirder. It's like it's fighting with itself. It's this old historical manor, but some of the touches are modern. Like Susan is trying to update it. And she's told that Susan's husband travels a lot. They have a son, and then she's in charge of her stepson. Mm-hmm. And the stepson is the one that is supposedly been possessed by this house and is doing all kinds of creepy things, threatening murder, losing his mind, all of this stuff. So everything that happens through this next part is kind of part thriller, part comedy, believe it or not. And the narrator's kind of considered a witch in the sense that she supposedly has this power to cleanse the house, but the whole thing ends up getting turned on her in a very interesting way. And the way that this story is, it almost just has an aura of its own. Like you just get this interesting kind of creepy feeling because really the story is plausible. When you read the whole thing, you think, oh, like that could actually happen. Like that's not that far-fetched. Uh-huh. And for kind of a thriller, Halloween type story, you don't always get that. And I love that. I love the success of a psychological thriller on that level that you walk away and are like, oh, okay. Also, the narrator's voice in this is just phenomenal. Like you want to meet her in real life because she's snarky and funny and the one-liners she has are terrific. And she's also, just kind of a spitfire like, oh, I'm going to create this business and basically rob people of their money from the front instead of the back. Mm-hmm. So love her for that. Creepy story. I think it's great for Halloween. It's a quick read, but it's got that great Gillian Flynn touch of like a twist that you don't see coming. And at the end, you finish with a little shiver.
Ooh. Yeah. I love that idea because she is very, like, I guess you could say thriller type stuff, not necessarily horror or, this kind of area. But she could, wow, that sounds really good.
Yeah, it is. And like I said, it's a quick read because, but it is, I read it a long time ago, like when it came out in 2015. I just reread it this week when I thought, I think I want to use that this week. I reread it to remind myself and it was just as good. Yeah. I was like, So it's a good one. Mm-hmm.
Thought of another element for Haunted House.
Oh, good.
I don't know if this is just 2020 or just generally, but there's got to be something from Goop there. There's got to be some sort of multi-level marketing scam going in. Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And when you start to have a nervous breakdown, someone's got to offer you oils.
Yes.
Yeah.
That could be another element of the Jack in the Box. They keep popping up and being like, would you like to buy? Would you like to buy? Would you like to buy? And you're like, no. And then when you're
at your worst, vagina egg.
Yeah. When you're at your worst, you just get oils on your chest that you can fling to the ground.
I don't want them.
I don't want those.
Stop it.
I want real drugs.
Yeah.
Ones that won't make me sick.
It is funny that surgery we related was in 2020. It feels like forever ago, but also it's the experience that we had. And again, we didn't get this surgery together. You just came as my support.
No. Yeah.
And the nurses were super, super weird, asking about dead cats and more stuff like that. But and giving me oils when I really just needed some damn drugs. Mm-hmm. But that feels very 2020. It
does.
Yeah.
It feels like another one of those things that was a sign that things are going to go off the rails.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But at the time, you're like, that's weird.
And
then you just move on. Never again will I say that's just weird and move on. I'll prepare myself immediately.
Whenever something weird happens, I'm going to be like, oh God, this is a sign.
It's happening
I'm going to
again.
start believing in signs. That in and of itself is terrible.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to be that person.
Uh-huh. I just thought of another element of haunted house.
What?
Did you ever have a keyboard when you were little? Like a keyboard?
Like a piano keyboard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it have that demo? Wake me up before you go. I don't plan on going solo. That song just over and over and over again. But in the piano, because the keyboard didn't have the words. It just had the background. And you're like,
and it was always like a real tinny sort of sound too.
Yeah.
Like,
that's just all the time playing.
Oh, yeah, that's real good.
Because that'll just put you on edge.
It's jarring.
So jarring.
Yeah.
We're really good at making haunted houses.
We really are. We need to compile all these ideas and present a business plan.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I think people would travel to this haunted house.
Well, for my pop culture pick, I picked a doozy of a show.
Oh, boy.
On HBO.
Okay.
Just finished last week called Lovecraft Country.
Oh.
So it's just, if you remember, we talked a while ago to Carter Sickles, and he had mentioned this as a show he was really liking because it sort of crosses all different genres. And it does. There's history. There's like Jim Crow living. There's Black lives and culture with magic, aliens, horror, time travel. It's everything. So it starts in 1955-ish with Atticus, a young black man who's coming home to Chicago after fighting in the Korean War. And he's come home because his dad is missing. And he hooks up with his Uncle George, who writes a sort of green book type guide for, quote, Negro travel. And they decide, they figure out somehow that Dad might be in this small town in Massachusetts. And they head to this small town, Ardham, it's called. But on the way, it's Atticus George and his friend Letitia, who is fantastic. On the way, they enter a sundown town where once the sun goes down, the white sheriff and the townspeople pretty much feel like it's their right to kill any black people that are in the premises.
Oh, boy.
But instead of, white people killing them, suddenly they're attacked by monsters. And this just sets the tone for the rest of the show. Every episode is this crazy, wild ride, and I honestly can't tell you much about the plot because it's going to be a spoiler, but I will say that there is an episode with a crazy white wizard cult.
Oh.
An episode with a haunted house. An episode in Korea with a killer fox spirit. There's an episode with sort of a Raiders of the Lost Ark type vibe where they're on like a treasure hunt.
Oh my gosh.
There's a body magic where a black woman can become a white woman and gets a job as a white woman.
Oh.
There is space travel. There's time travel. There are killer minstrel performers. So it is insane, but it all works somehow, which is even more insane when you think about it. Like blending all of those things together and having this amazing like racial component to it as well. I think because it weaves the black experience and Jim Crow with all of this stuff, in a way it sort of illuminates how ridiculous Jim Crow, segregation, like our whole racial system, how ridiculous it is overall. I chose it for this theme because one overarching theme throughout is magic. Who's got it? Who wants it? Who will use it for good versus evil? And in the final episode, which I just watched this weekend, there's some crazy, crazy, crazy magic. I will say, too, it's HBO, so it is graphic.
Yeah.
There is graphic sex. There is graphic violence. There is some weird body stuff you would never imagine you would see. But you can't take your eyes away. I'm seeing, as I was looking this up in preparation to talk, I'm seeing lots of like sort of mixed reviews. Some people think that the combination of everything, all these different genres, plus the racial component doesn't quite work. I think it worked wonderfully. I think it was so compelling because of that. And I'm so curious to see if there's going to be a second season, how they're going to handle it, especially after the finale. So it's a hell of a ride.
Is the title a nod to that thriller author, H.P. Lovecraft? Okay. I wondered if that was...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's just... And like at some point, there's the Tulsa race riots that come in. Like it's just everything. Ooh. And one of the... I mentioned this woman, Letitia. She's played by Journey Smollett. And she's had sort of smallish roles in other movies. But here she is. One of her lines in the very first episode is like, someone says, "Who are you?" She says, "I'm Letitia fucking Lewis." And that sets the stage
for
who she is.
Get it.
At one point, there's a scene with her and a baseball bat and cop cars. And it's everything you could want and more.
Wow.
It's interesting, too, that this is coming out in this current environment of a pandemic, increased Black Lives Matter awareness, as well as, all the awful shit that's happening.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of waiting to see if you were going to watch it to know if I wanted to watch
That's fine. That's fine.
So I will now.
I will be your guinea pig.
Okay, good, good. Well, this week for pop culture, I brought a podcast.
Ooh.
And it's put out by Gimlet Media. It's called Conviction, American Panic.
Ooh.
So this is actually the second season of Conviction. First season dealt with a different topic, but this one takes place in the 1980s during the height of the craze of satanic cults.
Oh, shit.
Where people thought that satanic cults were everywhere, abusing children. It was this crazy thing. So who we are mainly following in the podcast is John Quinney, who in 1989 was 9 years old and accused his father of being a satanic cult leader and abusing him for many years.
Oh, no.
This led to all kinds of crazy things, like led to a daycare where a bunch of workers were accused of running a satanic cult inside of it. And basically finding out that none of those situations were true. Basically, the whole satanic cult, the height of that was proven to not be happening at all. Mm-hmm. So it could be kind of reminiscent of the QAnon thing happening right now.
It really does. Like just coming out of nowhere, this ridiculous conspiracy. Yeah.
Yeah, mm-hmm. It is. Yeah. And that's what I love about this podcast is that, and that's why I brought it, because obviously out and out we're talking about witches, Satan, cults, that type of thing. But what's more interesting to me is how those ideas can put a spell on everyone to believe that it's happening, including this person against his own father and his journey to figure out what the truth is, and uncover kind of how this happens. Like, how did this happen? How did all this group of people come to believe all these things are true with basically no evidence? It's fascinating. It's very interesting. It's hard at some parts, but I think it's a great kind of opposite of what we talk about a lot. I mean, it seems like a lot we're talking about how did someone fall for a cult or how did someone get here? And then this is sort of the other side of a cult where people are a cult being anti-cult, So how do people get there? And it's really the same process for both when you think about it. So
what an area rife for study like that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good.
And isn't there a tie, like didn't Gillian Flynn write a book that had an element of like satanic panic?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yep. So good.
It is interesting that we look back now and we're like, oh my God, how did people believe that? But you're right, 30 years from now, someone's going to look back at some of the weird conspiracy theories being promoted right now and be like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. How did anyone buy into that? Mm-hmm.
Ooh, pedophilia sex cult among Democrats. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In the basement of a pizza shop that doesn't have a basement.
Yep.
Again, based on no evidence or stretching
evidence.
And finding evidence, painting something to look like you want instead of just taking it. And that to me is what's infuriating about QAnon, and what's also infuriating here is that there are many atrocities that happen in our world.
Yes,
that there is
atrocities.
Blatant evidence for.
Yes.
Hard truths that people say aren't true, but they're willing to believe something that's such a far stretch to get there. It's a scary place.
I remember around that time was also especially the rise in people freaking out about song lyrics again and having the push for like labeling records and stuff. And it felt like it was tied to this satanic moral panic thing. Like I even remember sitting in a Sunday school class and one of the teachers was going through Queensryche lyrics that he'd found from his kid's CD or something. And like, listen to this. This is terrible. And all of us are looking around like, this is just a song. What are you doing, buddy?
Also, you're showing us the song. Like
that's
weird.
This is not, no.
I feel like that's a sad note to end on. Like we just sort of ended at a weird.
It went like,
like the mummy.
Oh, like the mummy. I think I called it a zombie before. It's not a zombie. It's a mummy.
But that's the noise for 2020, right?
It is.
Just and I'm sorry that our Halloween episode sort of came to an
Maybe we can redeem it by talking about the things that we would like to be able to do with magic.
Yes.
Like what would you like to be able to do with magic if you had magic, all the magic in the world?
trying to think of the things that annoy me the most. I think if I had magic, I would like to be able to stop someone when they're speaking completely illogically. You know the people, everybody knows them, that just won't hear anything. I'd like to stop and have the ability to show them why the people that they follow are hypocritical.
Ooh.
Like have the ability to show them hard evidence that
Change
that's not
hearts
true.
and minds.
Yes.
Ooh, that'd be excellent.
I would also like the ability to just magically make whatever food I want appear.
Oh, that's a good one.
Like I feel like this right now. Boom.
I feel like our friend Haley then is a witch. Oh my God.
Yes.
She's a witch.
She is of the culinary sort.
I think we've talked about our friend Haley here, but she is in chef school and routinely posts.
I don't even know. She should be teaching chef school.
She should. She posts the most gorgeous pictures of things that she's making. And it's not. This week I think I posted, just stop it. Stop it, Haley.
Stop. It's impressive. It's delicious. And it's...
And it haunts our dreams.
It does.
Because we've
it's
been
intimidating.
able to try some of this.
Because my son says my cooking is dirty old soup. And it's not even soup when he's eating it. He looks at Haley's pictures and he's like, oh, you win. There's no contest.
Yeah,
and
no,
he
there's
just
no
awards her
contest.
the winner.
Yeah, that's
which
not fair.
She earned. That's fair. I'm not taking that from her.
Yeah.
Because damn.
Right.
But yeah, I would like to be, but I don't want to go through the work that she goes
I don't
through.
either.
So if
No,
I
just
got
wanna
magic,
have it.
boom.
Yes,
Yeah.
I want to have that ability.
I just
That's
want to
what
be like,
magic.
snap my fingers, boom, that happens.
That's the real joy of magic, is not having to work for stuff. That'd be wonderful.
Yes. Ooh, the ability to just stop time so I can read a whole book without being interrupted. And then the day just picks up where it was.
Oh, I would use magic to just read all the books.
All the time.
Yes.
I'd be like, stop. I'm going to read till I get this book done. And then, the day just picks up where it was.
Then we could also give magic to our listeners to do the same thing. Be like, listen, we're going to recommend you these books this week, and you have time to read all of them because we're going to stop time for a couple days. Just do it. Enjoy
God,
it.
I want to sing Vanilla
Right?
Ice now.
So, listeners, we're going to get there. We're going to offer you the ability to stop time and read whatever you want soon.
Coming soon.
And
Just
that's
like
the-
the vaccine. Weeks, days, months. It's coming. It's going to be a beautiful thing.
It's going to be beautiful.
It's going to be beautiful. We're rounding the corner to that. So, ooh, that could be a power.
Ooh.
That, like, for moments, I don't know how much time, but whenever you want, that you can only make that noise come out of someone's mouth. Like, you snap your fingers and all that comes out is
Oh, my God.
So every time they can ask a question, like in a debate.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be wonderful. We could stop the Senate confirmation hearings, too. Oh, magic would be great.
It would be. It would be. This is what 2020's done. It's taken us to a place where the only hope we have is
It's magic.
fantastical magical abilities. You know what you do have the ability to do?
What?
Come back next week and listen to another episode.
Sure do. We promise it won't always end on a No.
Mer.
No.
In the meantime,
Happy reading.
mer.